What if I told you that one number on your loan statement could be the difference between becoming a millionaire or staying broke for the rest of your life? Most people believe debt is simple. Credit cards are bad. Mortgages are good. Student loans are an investment. That's what we've been told. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Millions of Americans follow those rules every single day and still never build wealth because they've been measuring debt the wrong way. Not for years, for decades. Today, I'm going to show you the same principle professional investors use before they borrow a single dollar. It takes less than 30 seconds to understand, yet almost nobody ever calculates it. And once you know it, you'll never look at debt the same way again. Let's start with something that sounds crazy. A credit card, a mortgage, a car loan, a business loan, and even billions of dollars borrowed by companies like Apple are actually the exact same financial tool. They're all built on one simple agreement. Someone gives you money today and you promise to return more money tomorrow. That's it. Debt isn't good. Debt isn't bad. Debt is just a tool. The question isn't, do you have debt? The real question is your debt making you richer or poorer? And almost nobody asks that question. Instead, people argue about what they bought. Never buy a car. Always buy a house. Student loans are worth it. Credit cards destroy lives. Those statements sound smart, but they're missing the one thing that actually decides whether debt helps you or quietly steals your future. One number, not your salary, not your credit score, not even your monthly payment. One number. And once you understand it, you'll realize why two people with the exact same income can end up living completely different financial lives. One retires wealthy, the other works until they're 70. Same paycheck, different math. So before we talk about mortgages, before we talk about credit cards, before we talk about investing, you need to understand the rule that separates ordinary borrowers from people who use debt to build wealth. Because once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Part 2. The number that changes everything. Meet two people, Jake and Brian. Both make around the same income. Both pay their bills on time. Both believe they're making smart financial decisions. But 20 years later, one is financially free. The other is still living paycheck to paycheck. What happened? Let's start with Jake. Jake has an $8,000 credit card balance. The interest rate, 22%. He tells himself, it's fine. I'm making my payments every month, and technically, he is. But here's what he never calculated. That 22% interest isn't just costing him money, it's competing against every investment he'll ever make. Think about it. If your credit card charges 22%, paying it off is the same as earning a guaranteed 22% return. Tax-free, risk-free. Now ask yourself, where else can you legally earn a guaranteed 22% every single year? You can't. Not in the stock market, not in real estate, not in crypto, nowhere. Which means every extra dollar Jake invests while carrying that debt is actually losing the race before it even starts. Now meet Brian. Brian also has debt, a mortgage. Interest rate, 5%. Instead of throwing every extra dollar into paying off his mortgage, he invests it. His investments earn around 10% over time. He's borrowing money at 5%, while his investments are growing at roughly 10%. See the difference? Jake's debt grows faster than his investments. Brian's investments grow faster than his debt. Same word. Debt. Completely different outcome. This is the mistake millions of people make. They ask, what kind of debt is this? Smart investors ask, what is this debt costing me compared to what my money could earn somewhere else? That's the only comparison that matters. Forget the labels. Forget good debt. Forget bad debt. Debt doesn't care what you bought. Debt only cares about one thing, the math. Once you understand that, you stop making emotional money decisions and start making mathematical ones. And that's exactly how wealthy people think. Now here's the part that confuses almost everyone. If debt can be dangerous, why do so many wealthy people borrow money? Simple. Because they don't borrow to consume. They borrow to own. There's a massive difference. Most people use debt to buy things that lose value. A new car, designer clothes, the latest phone, or luxury vacations. The excitement disappears, but the monthly payment stays. The wealthy do the opposite. They borrow to buy assets, businesses, rental properties, and stocks. Assets that have the potential to produce more money than the loan costs. That's called positive leverage. Here's a simple example. Imagine you borrow $100,000 at a fixed 5% interest rate. Instead of spending it, you buy an asset earning 10% a year. Your borrowing costs about $5,000. Your investment earns about $10,000. The difference, roughly $5,000, is wealth created through leverage. That's why smart debt can accelerate wealth. But here's what most finance influencers never tell you. Leverage is powerful only when the math works. If you borrow at 12% to invest in something earning 8%, you're moving backward. If you finance a luxury car that loses value every year, you're moving backward. If you carry a 24% credit card balance while hoping your investments earn 10%, you're moving backward. The rich don't win because they love debt. They win because they understand cheap debt versus expensive debt. Cheap debt can build wealth. Expensive debt destroys wealth. Here's the biggest mindset shift. The goal isn't to have zero debt. The goal is to eliminate debt that's growing faster than your money. Every dollar trapped in high-interest debt is a dollar that can never compound for you. That's why wealthy people ask one question before borrowing a single dollar. Will this debt make me money or cost me money? If the answer is cost me, they walk away. If the answer is make me, they use debt as a tool, not as a lifestyle. So how do you know whether your debt is helping you or quietly making you poorer? Forget the labels. Forget what your friends say. Forget what social media tells you. Use this simple rule. Compare your debt's interest rate to the return your money could realistically earn somewhere else. That's it. If your debt costs 20% and your investments might earn 10%, pay off the debt first, because eliminating a guaranteed 20% loss beats chasing a possible 10% gain every single time. But if your mortgage costs 4% and your investments are expected to earn around 10% over the long run, the math changes. Your money has a better chance of growing than your debt does. That's why wealthy people don't ask, should I avoid debt? They ask, is this debt working for me or against me? And that one question changes everything, because wealth isn't built by avoiding financial tools. It's built by using them correctly. Here's something most people never realize. The bank isn't getting rich because you borrowed money. The bank gets rich because you borrowed expensive money. The wealthy borrow, but they borrow cheap. The middle class borrows, but they often borrow expensive. Same tool, different outcome. So tonight, open your banking app. Write down every debt you have: credit cards, car loans, student loans, and your mortgage. Next to each one, write the interest rate. Then ask yourself one question. Is this debt helping me build wealth or silently stealing it? Because the moment you stop thinking of debt as good or bad and start thinking in percentages, you'll make better financial decisions than most people ever do. And that is how wealthy people think. If this video changed the way you see money, subscribe. Because on this channel, we don't chase motivation. We follow the math, and the math never lies.